It's not,
Yeah.
it's not
An
the same
actual
kind.
statistician.
Yeah.
So.
But if we talk about mods, right?
Weapon mods, yeah. Weapon
Well,
mods and gear mods.
And gear mods.
Okay,
Because it's
alright.
actually a very similar story.
Okay.
So at level 12,
Yeah.
your mods only contribute about 6% of your time to kill or time to be killed.
Okay.
Right?
alright.
6%.
Just effectiveness in general.
Very small
Okay.
effect, right?
Alright.
But I mean, in an RPG, like 6% is like, yeah, it's okay, I guess, but it's kind of small, right?
Mhm.
At level 30, it's
Mm.
more than 40%.
Okay.
That's a huge increase, right?
Yeah. What's that like? 7? Yeah.
It's six and a half
yeah,
times
just
about,
gonna
right?
say, yeah.
Yeah.
just under 7 times. Okay, that's a lot.
But that's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they're just mods at level 30 just super important.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So all of a sudden they become a critical part of your build,
Yeah.
right? And if you are not building exactly correctly,
Mhm.
like that can swing. And this 40% actually is much smaller than the real number because I'm not even including in recoil, magazine size, accuracy, kind of all those other things that we have, like on mods, right? I'm just talking pure DPS.
Just like your paper DPS, not your effective DPS that can be affected like
Yeah.
a lot by stability and accuracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So skills, another interesting thing to
Yeah.
look at, right? So we know that skills increase the DPS of a player, and specifically, right, I'm talking about DPS increasing skills like Pulse and Smart Cover.
Yeah.
By more than 78% at level 30.
That's a lot.
Okay, which is a lot, especially considering this is when you don't specialize in electronics.
So this isn't
Okay.
even capped.
So this is
Okay,
a
all right.
completely like, you know, balanced player who's like, I don't really care about electronics. I don't care. I'm just going to use these two things.
Yeah.
They're going to get huge benefits, right?
Exactly. But if you cap out skill power, like
Yeah.
then it gets crazy.
Yeah. Oh,
Right,
like
like-
way, way more than that, right?
Yeah.
And it's also something weird that happens, right? Like the increase in the power of specifically Pulse
Mhm.
increases from level 12 to level 30, even though you're not specializing in electronics.
Okay.
That's weird.
So all of a sudden it gets 1.5 times more effective at level 30.
just,
right.
just for free.
For no
Just for
reason.
free.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
that's,
No
that's
reason, just because it's doing it.
Weird. All right.
Right? So you might be thinking at this point, you're like, wait a second. You're talking about the game being more difficult, but you're talking about how, like, maybe we're overpowered or something?
Yeah.
Like, how does this add up?
So
Right.
yeah, exactly.
And I think you guys have talked about this before,
Yeah.
but Endgame was kind of balanced, right, for the outliers,
Yeah.
right? Which is a problem.
Yeah. Especially because they are outliers by such a huge factor, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because the gap between our best players
Mhm.
and our kind of average players is so large,
Mhm.
and we happen to balance for the best players,
Yeah.
it means the game is just almost,
It's super hard for so many people, right?
yeah,
Like, it's
exactly.
just-
I mean, it's just frustration for
Yeah.
the average player. And if we talk about numbers, right?
yeah.
Like, we kind of estimate that the gap between the kind of worst player at a level versus the best player at a level
Mhm.
is about plus or minus 150%,
Mhm.
right? In terms of time to kill and time to be killed.
Okay.
And that's at level 12, right?
All right.
And so 3 times. Okay, that seems fairly reasonable.
Yeah.
But then we look at level 30,
Yeah.
and it's like 250% plus or minus. So
Okay.
5 times, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not considering, signature skills,
Yeah.
actually like min-maxing and things like that. Because if you do that, we think the number is actually closer to 10 times.
Yeah.
10
Yeah,
times.
10 times.
Easy,
if-
probably,
Which is
yeah.
huge,
It's like,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That's really big.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Apparently, I have to stop looking at you guys because everybody says I have death
the death
stairs.
stare. It's
don't
also
know why.
very bright and
I don't know why.
It's
so
very bright
Yeah.
in here, and we're not at all professionals, as you know. But yes, Yannick doesn't hate Drew. He doesn't hate me. I hope
No,
it's
I
not a thing.
I don't hate anyone. I don't hate people. All right. Anyway, back.
Yeah, 10 times. Damn. Yeah, that's,
Yeah, yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's
Yes.
exponential. Yes.
Got some mathletes on the stream.
It's a lot.
Woo.
Yeah. No, it's a lot, right? So it's kind of the takeaways, right, from this was that enemies with a greater level than the player, they're just too powerful after
Yeah,
level
yeah,
30,
exactly.
right? Like, that's not fun. The other takeaway is the gap between the worst and the best players, it just grows too large
Yeah.
in the end game. We
Yeah.
need to make that a little bit more forgiving for the players in the bottom, right?
Definitely.
And kind of bring everyone up
yeah.
a little bit, right? Or at least
Exactly.
closer to the best. Not we still want that gap, right?
Yeah, you
because
still need variation. Like, there
Yeah,
has to
exactly.
It has to be rewarding to optimize
Yeah.
your gear.
yeah. Like if you're a really smart player and you know how to optimize,
Yeah.
like you should be better.
Yeah, that, of course.
Like we know that, but you
Yeah.
shouldn't be 10 times better.
Yeah, that's
That's-
that's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
To me. Like, it's a bit out of control.
Yeah, exactly. We know that mods become too powerful in the end
Yep.
game.
Yeah, by a lot.
Especially when you talk about handling and things like that. Like they turn your guns into laser cannons and they increase the DPS a ton.
Yeah, I think that's something that I experienced going through 1 to 30 again. The guns like felt like guns. 'Cause
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember
You just have
like
to aim, right?
in the alpha, which was 4 to 8, levels 4 to 8, and you picked up like an AK-47. Sure, it's powerful, but it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's cool, like, because
Yeah.
you play differently. But right now everything's just
That's
like,
the first thing you notice when you start over again from level 1 and everything. It's the handling of the guns, which
Yep.
is like, oh my god, oh I forgot that it's like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But what's cool, right, is when we have a little bit more handling on the guns, it means that we can effectively decrease the health of the NPCs,
yeah, exactly.
right? Because if
Yeah.
the guns handle super well, it
Yeah.
means you're landing more shots, which means your DPS is higher,
Yeah.
which means the enemy health needs to be higher to compensate because
Yeah.
we still want similar time to kills.
Exactly. But that's not cool in like kind of like it loses the shooter feel.
Exactly.
Because you're just unloading.
Exactly.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
but I think that's cool. Like having the guns feel like guns.
Yeah.
Like your effective DPS.
Yeah, and having
is
the
probably a little bit
NPCs
lower, but-
feel more like humans.
Yeah. So
like,
when they
that's
take,
also cool, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
When they take a hit, they actually take the hit. you
Yeah.
know? That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
We know that skills become too powerful in the end game without specializing in skill
Yeah.
power.
Mhm.
Or actually, I mean electronics. I don't mean skill power.
Yeah.
Because you get skill power from your gear pieces, of course. And we know that smart cover and pulse tend to be the most used and the best kind of skills
By
for
far.
most
Yeah.
players,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, talking about fixes then, right? So,
Yeah.
where do we go from here?
Okay.
The fun stuff. So, the first thing we're doing
Yes.
is we're fixing enemy health
Yes.
and damage, scaling post level 30, so it matches the 1 to 30 curve.
Yes, exactly, and that's so cool.
Yeah.
For people who are thinking like that the way it's going to happen is that everything will stay the same and we'll just adjust those values. That's not the case, and I'll let you kind of explain that. That's a lot more.
Yeah.
But that's the first step. So you're like bringing back the linearity. Is that a word? yeah,
Yeah,
you're making it
exactly.
linear again.
Right.
Past level 30.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we kind of know, right?
Yeah.
As an example, a very well geared player, like pretty average gear for his level, no mods, no skills. We know it takes about 9 assault rifle
Yeah.
shots, body shots, not headshots,
Yeah.
to kill a Riker's enforcer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The grunt in that faction. But all of a sudden at endgame, right, we know that it takes way more
Yeah,
than that.
a
Well,
lot more.
what we want to do now is we want to preserve that.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So-
So if you get the top level gear and you're fighting top level enemies, right?
Yep, it takes
It should be the
that same amount. Exactly.
Great, it makes sense.
Seems like it makes
of
sense,
course,
right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I think chat's already pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we have a video, right?
Do we want to show?
Do we wanna-
Okay, so the time to be killed, and
Oh yeah,
uh,
let's talk about that. Yes.
time to be killed?
That's a hugely important topic.
all right, so we're going to show you a video in a sec. Just to preface this is not the example of what your experience will be. This is just indicative of the
Yeah.
kind of experience that you will have. Obviously, there are so many variables. I think in this example, it's an enemy that's 3 levels above you, or is it the
Yeah,
same level?
So it's a level 33 Rikers Enforcer veteran
All right.
versus a gear score 229 player
Okay.
who is balanced build, so they
Right.
haven't specialized in any way.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not using skills. And they're
Okay.
not using weapon mods or gear mods.
All right. So can we just bring up the time to be killed video? And this will kind of loop. You'll still be able to hear us. But you can very quickly see that what we're going to have for you later. I think it's about 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So,
So-
I think the first guy on the left dies in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, you see the health bar that just goes down directly.
And again, you guys know that if you've played the game, your experience can be a lot more severe than this.
yeah.
Yep.
Like it can. You guys. Well, I say you guys, but us too. Like
Yeah, right.
in the underground, like you, like in heroic mode, like you get one shot a lot, even with good gear. This isn't, level 35 NPCs. This is 33.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. This is way worse if you're running heroic incursions, right?
Yeah.
Or like
I mean,
someone's-
that's like a tenth of a second. Instead
exactly.
Of,
And someone says
yeah.
like, "Show shotgunners, please." Like, yeah, this isn't shotgunners. This isn't even snipers.
Right.
But this is just, again, an indication of in this one specific instance where you're fighting against this one enemy, and you're basically not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool direction for us to go in, and these are the kinds of things that people will experience on the PTS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And again, it's going to take us a little while to go through all of these things, and soon we'll show you the other side of this, the time to kill.
Yeah.
But I just want to talk a little bit more about this because I think it's really, really important to say that this is part of your bigger project, right? The whole enemy scaling and that sort of thing.
Yes, which we'll talk about.
Yes. This is, it seems, whenever I've heard this, it seems like, you adjust a few things and now the end game's going to be different. But there's a lot more coming. So,
Yes.
time to be killed. Can we take a look at time to kill
Yeah.
quickly? So this is, again, a similar...
Yeah, so it's
Well,
the
this
same
is exactly the same
the
example.
same context, except this time we are killing the NPC.
Is this the example where you're using the ACR? Is it?
Yeah. So this is an ACR unmodded.
Okay.
Yep.
And people know this isn't the best gun in the game by far. But again, just for, the purpose of testing.
Yeah, and again, not really optimized build or whatever. Also, of course, the experience in game would be completely different, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
still.
this is so right now in this example, time to kill is about half.
Yeah.
Half the size. But you will again, if you optimize your gear and you're not using an ACR, if you're using something a bit better than that.
Yeah.
Okay, the whole weapon thing is a discussion for a different day. But that's definitely going to change.
yeah. So that's basically the first change.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Indeed.
Time to kill, time to be killed.
Yes.
All right, that's a big change, and this fits into like a greater scheme of your level, the enemy's level, like
Yes.
gear level, and
Exactly.
that sort of thing. Is now a good time to go into that?
Yeah.